Hey guys, Ted from Nerdarchy here, for nerds by nerds. With me is Dave.
And Ryan. Hi.
And today we're going to talk goblins, D&D monsters. What do you guys think?
They're little, mean, wicked bastards.
Or should I say goblinoids?
We're goblinoids. And hey, they're not just D&D monsters. Goblins have been around since mankind was making up fairy tales. So there you go.
That's true.
Yeah. So we can talk about them throughout the ages.
Or at least throughout the editions?
Throughout the gaming ages, yeah. So what? I don't know. Do you remember anything about AD&D, their Sage one?
Well, you know, the funny thing about monsters back when I used to play an original
Back
AD&D,
in my day.
they just hit you with pointy stuff. There wasn't a whole lot to it, especially they were like orcs, only shorter, and they didn't hit as hard.
Right.
But then again, you could put them in heavy plate mail on a
Dude, don't be ridiculous. That was second edition. Riding wargs in heavy plate mail with barding on their wargs and heavy lances.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous.
That would be ridiculous for first edition. Second edition. You gotta wait till second edition. Yeah.
So, goblins throughout the ages. You know, actually, none of the monsters really shine until you hit, like, third edition. Unless you're talking about more like the big bads, like your beholders and your dragons and your liches. But in, third edition and fourth edition, they really started to get more of
a personality.
Yeah, more of a personality. Some of it was kind of default, like your goblins would get, or a lot of your monsters would get, like, alertness. And so with the introduction of feats, and then we worried about their stats. Yeah. And so it really started to shape them. I want to say, actually, even though a lot of people like to lay on the hate on fourth, fourth really did give monsters, like, their signature moves. More so than any other edition. And then fifth just kind of built on that. And with the goblins, we see that. Goblins are sneaky little bastards. Well, in fifth edition, that's like their power. That's
It does say sneaky little bastard. Yeah.
Yeah, right under there.
Goblins can disengage as a bonus action.
Yeah,
that's
dash.
a rogue
Is it
power.
dash or what is it?
They can take disengage or hide as a bonus action on each of its turns. So it can either get away or disappear, or attempt to disappear.
Much like the rogue at second level.
The rogue. So,
right.
Racially, they get, a rogue power, and that's pretty neat. So with goblin or goblinoids, we also have your goblin boss, which I think is the most hysterical power ever.
Yeah.
And it can just be like, if a goblin boss within 5 feet of another goblin when it takes an attack.
Is it goblin or ally?
When a creature within a goblin sees a target with an attack, the goblin chooses another goblin within 5 feet of it.
It's gotta be a goblin.
And if the two goblins switch places, and the other goblin takes the hit instead of
it basically grabs him, throws him in his place, and jumps back.
You hit him.
But it's very thematic. It's awesome. Goblins. I love the goblin monsters. They're one of those things that can be like a serious threat, or they can be comic relief.
Absolutely.
And
or a little bit of both.
You can switch back and forth between the two.
And you got your step up from your basic goblin, and you've got your hobgoblin, and you've got your bugbear, which are all fill into that goblin quote unquote family, and the bugbear is as far removed from your goblin as the lion is from a house cat. Because if you look at what the actual bugbear property has, it's disgusting. That brute power, you get an extra weapon damage on every swing. So you're willing that D8 weapon, every swing is now a 2D8.
Or a great axe.
Or a great axe
would be nasty.
That's pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say the Hobgoblin Warlord's no joke either. He's no slouch with a 20 armor class.
Yeah.
So, when I think of goblins, like, my favorite goblins to date are probably from Eberron. I love the Goblinoid kingdom they built up in there. And actually, the book series that they based on it was pretty freaking awesome as well. And all the Goblinoid, they kind of had their own roles, right? So the Hobgoblins were kind of like the centralized point of civilization. They're more militaristic. They're more organized. And they were kind of like the glue that held everything together. But then, the other Goblinoid clans would be drawn in and serve different roles. Like, they had, I think it was Ghost Runners was like one of the goblin clans, but they were like ninja ghosts. They're not ninja goblins, and they just were so freaking sick. So, there's a lot of different ways to do goblins, and I mean, you're reading a book currently, or just finished reading a book about a goblinoid party.
Right.
I mean, the goblinoids are a little bit different than our standard D&D fare, but it's kind of along the same concept.
Book is called Goblin Corps, or Corpse, however you want to pronounce it, Corps. And it's essentially, there's a world that's set that there's literally like a line drawn across it. This is where the good people live, this is where the evil people live, and the evil is ruled by, some kind of Lich King. And he forms this squad of, elite, crack team, and it's got an orc, a troll, an ogre, a goblin. In this world, they're all called goblins. So the goblin is actually called a gremlin, a kobold, and a shapeshifter, and a bugbear. And they're all skewed slightly differently looks-wise to what our typical monster manual would show. But it's totally just an evil party. They're all being forced to work together. Half the party hates everybody else. It's hysterical, and it's a really great read. So if you're looking for a book to read, check it out. But it gives you a really good feel for dealing with these evil races and how to actually go about, manipulating evil, essentially.
Well, I mean, you also, there's something interesting in that when you're talking about how the sort of the way that they look, they're described in the book is looking different from what you'd say D&D versions of these things are. But the thing is, like, even this 5th edition Goblin doesn't bear any resemblance to the 3rd edition Goblin.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he, this looks like a pygmy Neanderthal. I mean, like, you could see some vestiges of it. But, like,
they got the pointy ears. But, I mean, typically when I think Goblin, my go-to is they're green. They're short, they're green, and, our monster manual has them as a, kind of an orangey shade.
I mean, a few shades removed from, like, a human
basically.
I kind of think, when I think Goblin, I kind of harken back to the Tom Cruise movie Legend. The goblins in there, and I kind of and then moving forward, like I like the World of Warcraft goblins.
The big pointy ears, the big pointy nose.
Yeah.
Well, here's my thing is I think they were going for as much market differentiation as possible from Pathfinder, because Pathfinder, like, they took what was the prototypical goblin and then, like, amped it up a bit, so giving them these sort of like oversized heads, with the big floppy ears type of thing, and like D&D was like, all right, well, we need to make our edition really stand out from what's going on with Pathfinder, so they made this very different looking goblin. Personally, I like like older. Well, I do like the Pathfinder goblin, but also like even with like Magic the Gathering, the Mogs. They're essentially goblins.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And, like, the depictions of those, and they had different skin shades. Not all of them were surgical green. Some of them had almost, like, the sandy color to them. But, like, kind of, like, slightly big heads, pot bellies, a lot of them, but, like, also... Gangly, but you also see, like, the framework of muscle on them. So,
And, artwork is that. It's artwork. So whenever you're putting your own campaign out there, I mean, even if you're running something in, a set world, there's nothing to say that, for your group, this is what goblins
you can
look
make what is the canon for your world. You
can reskin them, absolutely. Well, and that being said, so goblins also fit this interesting role in the sense that they're a weaker monster. So a lot of times they've been used as PCs. I mean, Pathfinder did they do one module or a series?
There's a couple of modules.
We Be Goblins.
We Be Goblins, yeah.
Right, which is
super fun.
I haven't played it. Have you played it?
Yeah.
Which the concept is hysterical that you guys basically play goblins, right?
Yeah.
So I like it. Which, funny enough, we're getting ready to launch my 5th edition campaign, which we have 2 goblins that are modeled after juggalos. Juggalos. I don't even know what a juggalo is, but I got 2 of them in my campaign.
2 juggalos. No one likes juggalos, and they're playing them.
So they're goblin entertainers with clown makeup on, and
I don't know if they wear clown makeup. Maybe they do. Probably when they're performing, they probably.
They said that they're doing it, so we'll see how that winds up going.
Yeah. It's gonna be ridiculous.
So your goblinoids, how do we better use them in a campaign?
Okay, first of all, I think we're gonna talk mainly about. Let's pick an edition and stick with it for now.
All right. Well, we're playing
in,
fifth.
We're in fifth.
So
right now.
Wait. So when we talk about using them, I should read the quote.
Okay,
The
let's
quote.
what you got
The
for
quote about using goblins, right? So it's like these nice little like paper. Like there's a little notes of paper in the monster manual.
Post-its.
Yeah, it's like little post-it notes throughout the book. So, if you want soldiers or thugs, hire hobgoblins. If you want someone clubbed to death in their sleep, hire bugbears. If you want mean little fools, hire goblins. Stallman Klim, slave lord. So there you go.
So there you go. You've got some
fills the roles pretty spelled out.
You've got clear cut places of where you're supposed to fit the goblinoids, into a quest or into a campaign even.
Well, what's nice about them is one, you can start off with them right away. Low level monsters that in 5th edition you get to use for a long time.
That's right.
Because they maintain their credibility as a threat much longer in this edition, which I love. Then you have, the next step up is the hobgoblins and the bugbears. Again, and all three of them kind of fit different roles in an encounter.
You have the organized fighting force of hobgoblins. You have the shock troops, which are either going to be bugbears or goblins. Although also the bugbears could do you could basically make ninja bugbears and really screw with people.
That's one of the crazy things about bugbears. They're bruisers, but they've always been freaking stealthy bruisers.
Yeah, they're also wrapping a garrote around your neck and strangling you to death on top of being super strong.
I like bugbears. I had a bugbear character that I played for a while. So I like what they've done with them. I know you're not fond of the actual artwork.
Let's be clear. I think it's a good picture of the bugbear in this edition, in this book.
He's too thin.
He's too thin. I like that. I really like the 3rd edition where they look very apish. Mm-hmm. And with the exaggerated ears, I just enjoyed that bugbear. That's my bugbear.
Yeah, you want to
get your own. Yeah. Cuddle him, hug him, squeeze him, call him George.
Yeah.
But I looked at the bugbear when you got the monster manual download, and I'm like, okay, this is something that I might be able to use. And then after that orc encounter with the 4 orcs that wiped out half the party,
maybe not so much.
I put the bugbear on that back
Well,
burner.
I mean, the thing is, so playing the starter set, when you hit 2nd level, maybe it was when we were first. I think it was 2nd. There was an encounter that had a bugbear, and we all concentrated fire on him because we knew out of his minions were goblins and it's a bugbear, so you would take out the big guy first. But yeah, had he have gotten a chance to really hit anybody, it would have hurt a lot.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
they lay down the spec. So all right, so we've done quite a few D&D monsters where we discuss how to use them. I got some ideas how I'm going to be using them in the near future.
All right, so let's we'll have to wait for those surprises in your actual campaign videos. But your basic goblin you can use similar to what we've said with kobolds. You put them in tunnels. Goblins are supposed to be evil and cunning to a degree, so you could have tunnels that are built for their size, and you absolutely could have them as slaves of anything because they're so
it sucks
so
to
weak.
be a goblin
Because they can be weak and cowardly, and then as you had said that the hobgoblins can be very militaristic, so they could be a fighting force for anyone that would actually have the coin to hire them or have the power to instill loyalty. Bugbears could be used as an actual assassin that's going out and maybe in your campaign world there is a bugbear who is a notorious assassin. Make your bugbear fet, if you will, as some legendary dude who's gotten all these ridiculous kills. So you don't have to just stick with what's there.
I know, when we ran Alfgania, one of the last campaign sessions I did was, a hobgoblin invasion, and they were basically modeled after Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
The long ships were coming up on shore. They were offloading, the hobgoblins, and they're sacking and pillaging the city.
Yep.
So you can reskin the monsters in that sense, and it's not so much as a reskin, but taking them, and especially since they're intelligent humanoids, you could basically redress them in different societies and cultures,
Right.
which changes the flavor. Like the hobgoblins in this book, they look very kind of Asian to me in their garb. Like it looks like they're wearing samurai armor.
So what would you do if you had hobgoblin samurais? How terrifying could that be?
You gotta run, man. You gotta run. One cut, one kill.
That's right.
So, but so there's a lot of different things, and then they're intelligent monsters, so you don't always have to fight it. It doesn't have to be about combat.
Right.
The adventuring party I have now, there'll be a couple of them in the party even, so that'll be interesting. You've talked about we ran a higher level campaign where you got to play a bugbear.
Mm-hmm. And that was a lot of fun. I mean, he was a bugbear barbarian, and he just stuck it out as barbarian, and he was utterly ridiculous, the sheer damage that he could pull out.
So let's talk progression. You have a village or a town. It couldn't be any bigger than that, but otherwise any fortified civilized lands aren't really going to be threatened by goblins.
Mm-hmm.
Well, except for unless they finally come up through the sewers, or because they're nasty little
Tunnels.
fuckers, right?
Well, that's
Tunnels.
true. You could do it that way.
Out stealing babies and stuff.
But what I'm thinking is, small groups, of raiders. They come in, hit and run to try and steal stuff, murder, mayhem, or
light stuff on fire.
Yeah, or even attacking caravans and waylaying travelers. The progression to that is, your PCs have to go out and find the source.
Find the source. So you go into the goblin lair.
You go into the goblin lair, or maybe it's only a goblin outpost.
Mm.
Right.
And you clear that out. But what if they're just what if they're a forward force for a larger
host? Like maybe there's this abandoned castle that isn't really abandoned anymore. There's a host of hobgoblins that are running things and coordinating all the goblin tribes to make specific hits, and then they're gonna come as an invasion force.
Yeah, really just
weakening.
Weakening defenses, testing it out, seeing what
They're the canary. The goblins are the canaries in the coal mines for the
essentially,
the
and seeing what's there of value. I mean,
is it
worth the time? Right.
But and then from there, then you could also take your campaign in completely another direction, right? Of political intrigue. What if there's dissent within the ranks? What if they can ally themselves with a rival to the hobgoblin war chief that's actually in charge? Maybe the bugbear chieftain thinks he should be in charge because he's the strongest. So you could actually. It doesn't always have to be about fighting and killing. When you can get the bugbear chieftain to do it for you,
or you could go the other direction and role play similar to a R.A. Salvatore's King of Bold. Negotiate an area that the hobgoblins can settle, and the people, rather than being killed and overrun by these by this army, pull back or settle somewhere else, or just say, look, let's set up peace terms.
Right, maybe
it might be a bit harder to go down that road, if the hobgoblins are bloodthirsty, but if they're not I want to kill but I want to stay,
or maybe they set up a thing where they're going to demand tribute from the outlying towns, and so then it changes the dynamic of the campaign. It gets a little grittier, a little darker. You're trying to survive under the tyranny of the goblins. Essentially, perhaps basically, it could even be that you lost the war.
That could be the starting point for a campaign as well.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
So there's definitely different things you can do, and you don't have to use them standard out of the book. You can add spellcasting levels. You can add priest levels.
Yep.
One of the interesting things that happened with the goblin deities back in 4th edition, they demoted the goblin god. Someone want to pronounce the name so I don't butcher it?
Mugubliet.
Yeah.
Mugubliet.
To an exarch, which is like a lesser deity. Well, back in 4th edition, he's back to his full
Back to
deity.
5th, you mean?
Or 5th edition. In 5th edition, he's back to his full deity status.
Nice.
As it should be. Because that son of a bitch has been around since the very beginning.
The Deities and Demigods book.
Yeah.
I remember pouring through that and being like, who the heck is this guy?
So it's kind of bogus that he got demoted, but he's back and he's stronger than ever. You know, even during a recession, it's even hard for goblin gods.
Goblin deities, yeah.
To retain their deity status.
Yeah. Sometimes, you got to make cutbacks. Yeah, you do what you got to do.
You're not getting as many sacrifices from your goblin cohort. It's just they're not.
Yeah, the horde's just not performing the way it used to.
No, it's really they're in a down tick there, down spiral.
So I don't know. You guys, give me something interesting about a goblin. Goblin Twist.
A Goblin Twist. Maybe
putting you on the spot. What you got for
Goblin Twist? All right, maybe there's like a dread pirate ship, but it's captained by Goblinoids. Like, so you do all the things that a raiding pirate ship would do, but the landing party. First, it's a bunch of goblins that are herded forward, and then it's hobgoblins fighting in ranks, and then coming from the shadows, you got the Bugbears like gaff hooking people to the throat. Yeah.
Or pulling them in in cages.
I could almost see.
Slaving.
Well, yeah, enslaving people, being slavers. Like that opening scene of Pirates of the Caribbean, where the pirates land. Well, not opening scene, but like when the woman's taken, like that landing party, all of that stuff happening, but with Goblinoids. Yeah,
nice.
It'd be interesting.
All right, I was put on the spot. Now it's your turn.
Well, I
Top that.
sure thing. I'll steal from one of my authors. Ari Salvatore did a story with the goblin. It's actually a good guy. You have a role playing encounter, where the goblin is caught in a situation where people want him dead, and he's really accused of being nothing more than a goblin, and. Similar to Drizzt, who is, climbed the ranks of, notoriety and is a good drow. What if you have a goblin who's just trying to, make it in a world where he's hated and despised for his race?
Nope, never happened.
They murdered that goblin,
They absolutely did. Drizzt comes back to find the goblin being,
Had been hung.
But I mean, all right. So if you want something that's original, you've got a group of goblins that are investigating sources of magic. So the party is set out after this particular item or odd occurrence, and you've got goblins that are there first. They're actually
a goblin, Lewis and Clark.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sneaky bastards, as we've already said. They're everywhere, so why not have them gotten beaten to the punch? So you have your party, who's
competing over the resources.
Well, you have the PCs going after this thing. They encounter a group of goblins, and the goblins unlaunch spells rather than swords.
So, since I put it out there, here's one that I've actually done. I've done the Goblin Carnival Troupe, and I love it because it's comedy, but it doesn't have to be either. Like, so what if they could travel around from town to town and city to city? They have a little bit of safety in numbers, but perhaps they've already earned their reputation so that they actually get welcomed. But maybe they're not as good as they actually seem, and you got some backdoor dealing, and maybe they do leave town with a baby or two.
Yeah. Or they could basically function like a mobile thieves guild.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. Pickpocketing people from their performances, or they could just be that. They could just be entertainment, and they could actually be a hook for your adventurers in the sense that they need help.
So you could have it from both angles there. They need help because of prejudices and whatnot, or it could be okay, they are doing the deception and the thieves guild type stuff, and the party has to go find them and confront them.
Well, or it could be both. Plot twist.
There we go. Yeah. All I'm saying in that circus, you need to have the half ogre strongman, like lifting incredible feats of strength.
Yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. But who's going to be our bearded woman? Is that have a
Bugbear.
dwarf?
Bugbear. Yeah. And then well, know people would know the difference if it was really a male or a female.
Yeah.
Bugbear. There you go.
Sorry, it's just too easy.
Yeah. Well, then are we going to go Dragonborn for fire breather?
Maybe, except for
We're getting away from goblins.
If
now.
they're common in your world, though, then people are like, we've seen
They
it.
do a half dragon goblin for your
there you go.
for your fire breather.
Yeah, there you go.
So, with that, I mean, goblins are a lot of fun. You can keep things interesting. You know, they can be the adversary. They could be the plot
ally.
hook. You know, they could be a red herring. There's a lot of options, and you know, right now we have 3 sub races, and you know, I'm sure we're going to get more.
Really? I thought there was always just 3.
You know, there was always things like Norkers.
What's a Norker?
A Norker, man, they're the goblins with like saber-toothed teeth.
I don't even know what that is. All right, I'll have to Google that one.
So I'm pretty sure there was more than just the 3. You know, throughout the 5 editions, all the monster manuals.
No, you've got the longest gaming creds here, so I'll trust you on it. But I don't remember a Norker.
No,
It's actually a D&D monster.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
thought they
probably-
brought it back though.
It's possible.
everything good comes back again.
So, out there, you know, if you got some suggestions or feedback on the goblins, go ahead and put it in the comments below.
Yeah, how have you used goblins? Interestingly, you can throw that down there too.
You know, what do you like? What do you not like? I would click, like, comment, subscribe.
Share while you're at it.
Or maybe even find us on Facebook as Nerdarchy. Or venture over to nerdarchy.com. Or on Twitter. Or
Pretty much
Pinterest.
anywhere you can look on social
Anywhere you
media.
can swing a dead goblin.
Swing a dead
Oh,
goblin.
but this would be a great point to mention over on nerdarchy.com. We feature a How to Speak Goblin webcomic
We do.
every week on Wednesdays.
By
That's
yours truly.
Yeah. Well,
By
that would
yours.
me truly.
Yours
yeah,
truly.
not yours.
Not me.
Yeah.
His truly.
Yeah.
I'm not an artist.
Yeah.
That's this guy.
Yeah.
Our goblins will look like stick figures.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's another thing that happens over on nerdarchy.com on Webcomic Wednesday.
So with that, my friends,
Stay
stay
nerdy.
nerdy.